If you've ever looked at a woman and felt that small sting inside you, that little voice saying she doesn't notice you, she's not interested, or worse, she's already placed you in the mental category you never wanted to be in, then this is going to hit home for you. Because today, we're diving into something most men never learn until they're older, tired, and full of regret. And I don't want you to be one of them. Before we start, welcome back to Mind Unmasked, the place where we break down human behavior, psychology, and the hidden emotional truths nobody explains to you clearly. If you're new here, stick around. We don't sugarcoat reality here. We uncover it. Now let's start with a hook most men secretly relate to but never admit out loud. Have you ever wondered why the woman you want wants every guy but you? Why your kindness, loyalty, or effort somehow don't count? Why she'll give her time to a guy who barely texts her back, but your paragraphs get left unseen? If that's ever happened to you, don't worry. You're not broken, you're not unworthy, and there's nothing wrong with you. You just haven't been taught something important. Women don't fall for you because you want them. They fall for you because they feel something they weren't expecting to feel. His video isn't about manipulation. It's not about games, tricks, or trying to hack someone's emotions. It's about understanding psychology, real, human psychology, so you can show up as the kind of man a woman naturally gravitates toward, even the one who didn't notice you before, even the one who said she wasn't interested, because the truth is, attraction isn't fixed. It evolves, it shifts, and most importantly, it grows when a woman meets a man who knows how to impact her emotions, not chase her attention. Let's start with something raw, something real. Women don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with presence. Most men try to make women want them by trying harder, proving themselves, impressing them, offering more. But every inch you move toward her out of fear, she steps 1 inch back. The moment she feels you're trying to win her, something inside her turns off. She stops feeling the mystery. She stops feeling the spark. She stops wondering who you are, because you've already given her the entire blueprint of your intentions. There's no anticipation, no emotional pull, no reason for her to lean in. Women don't want a man who is addicted to their approval. They want a man who is rooted in his own identity. A man who walks into a room and isn't scanning for permission to exist. A man who knows his value even when nobody is praising him, noticing him, or choosing him. That kind of confidence isn't loud, arrogant, or performative. It's quiet. It's the type that makes her wonder what's going on in your mind, what your life is like, what it would feel like to be let into your world. And this curiosity, this emotional pull, is the foundation of attraction that can grow even after a first impression went wrong. There's a moment that happens in every woman's mind, and most men don't realize the power of it. It's that moment when she looks at a man and thinks, I didn't expect that from him. That moment is magic. That moment is where attraction begins to spark, even when she originally wasn't interested. So how do you create that moment? You don't do it by changing yourself to impress her. You do it by revealing parts of yourself that she didn't expect. For example, maybe she thought you were shy, then she sees your humor. Maybe she thought you were serious, then she sees your warmth. Maybe she thought you were predictable, then she sees your depth. Attraction often begins when a woman realizes she misjudged you. That realization triggers curiosity, and curiosity is the mother of desire. Most men think the opposite. They think they need to convince her. But you never convince someone to desire you. You inspire it. And you inspire it by being a man who isn't chasing her attention but instead building a life he's proud of. You inspire it by not trying to change her mind, because trying to change someone's mind means you already accepted their judgment of you as truth. Instead, you hold your own truth. You don't argue for your value. You live it. And that's when people start seeing it. This is where emotional maturity comes in, and trust me, emotional maturity is one of the most magnetic traits a man can have. A woman can be physically attracted to you, but if she senses emotional chaos, neediness, insecurity, desperation, or the fear of losing her, she will instantly pull away. But when she sees a man who feels deeply without falling apart, who cares without clinging, who loves without losing himself, that's when she leans in. That's when she thinks there's something different about him, something safe, something real. Women are drawn to men who can navigate emotions with strength, not men who avoid emotions or drown in them. When you can express yourself without blaming, when you can handle rejection without collapsing, when you can show interest without obsession, you stand out, because most men do the opposite. They either shut down completely or they overwhelm the connection with pressure. But the man who stays centered, he becomes unforgettable. Let's talk about something even deeper, your energy. Whether you believe it or not, people feel your energy before you ever speak a word. Women are extremely intuitive when it comes to emotional energy. If you approach with fear, anxiety, or an agenda, she feels it. If you approach like you're waiting for her reaction to decide how to feel about yourself, she senses it. But if you approach with grounded energy, relaxed, calm, present, something inside her softens. You're no longer another man trying to get something from her. You're a man simply being himself. And let me tell you something powerful. Women are drawn to men who don't rush, because rushing communicates fear. And women don't want a man who fears he's not enough. They want a man who knows he is enough. A man who takes his time. A man who moves with intention, not panic. Imagine two men. One is trying to impress her quickly, hoping to win her before she gets away. The other takes his time, builds moments slowly, lives his life, lets her see who he is naturally. Which one do you think she's curious about? Which one does she think about at night? Which one makes her wonder, why do I want him to notice me? The second one. Every time. Sometimes the most attractive thing you can do is simply stop trying so hard. Because when you stop trying, you stop hiding. You allow your real personality to come forward. You allow your humor, your intelligence, your warmth, your confidence to show up naturally. Trying too hard is like over-seasoning food. It ruins the flavor. But being present, being yourself, being grounded, that's where the real taste is. Let's talk about something men rarely think about, how you make her feel when she's around you. A woman doesn't fall for facts, she falls for feelings. She doesn't fall for your resume, your money, or your looks. She falls for the emotion she experiences near you. Does she feel seen? Does she feel safe? Does she feel excited? Does she feel understood? Does she feel respected? Women remember how a man made them feel long after they forget what a man said. Your presence becomes the memory she can't shake off. So how do you create that kind of presence? By mastering the art of slow attention. Slow attention is when you're fully present with her, not desperately, not aggressively, but naturally. When you listen without trying to impress, when you speak without trying to dominate, when you make eye contact not to intimidate, but to connect. When a woman meets a man who listens with curiosity instead of strategy, she feels something rare, something she can't explain but can't ignore. This is when emotional attraction begins to grow, and emotional attraction can overpower initial disinterest. Most men judge a woman's lack of interest as permanent, but in reality, it's flexible. Women change their minds about men all the time, but only when a man reveals qualities she didn't expect. So don't worry if she didn't like you at first. Many women fall for the man they didn't notice at the beginning, because attraction is like a flame. Sometimes it starts with a spark, and sometimes it starts when the firewood finally catches heat. Let's talk about independence. Not the fake kind, not the I don't care about anyone performance, but the real kind. Real independence is when you like her, but you don't need her. When you want her, but you don't obsess over her. When your life is full, your goals are active, your mind is focused, and your happiness doesn't depend on her reply time. That's not indifference. That's emotional strength. And that strength makes a woman lean in because she doesn't feel pressured. She feels intrigued. Women are naturally drawn to men who have motion in their lives. A man with goals, passions, hobbies, and boundaries. A man who doesn't pause his whole life just because he likes someone. A man who continues to grow, even when he could easily stop. This creates gravitational pull. She starts noticing you. She starts wondering what you're doing. She starts thinking about you at random moments. And this curiosity grows into emotional attraction, even if she originally didn't feel it. But here's the key. You don't grow to get her. You grow because that's who you are. Because your self-worth isn't up for negotiation. Because you don't chase people. You choose people. A woman can sense the difference instantly. The man who's growing for himself becomes magnetic. The man who's growing for her becomes invisible. Let's go deeper. Real desire is built from freedom, not pressure. When a woman feels free near you, free to be herself, free to laugh, free to be vulnerable, free to be honest. She begins to associate you with emotional safety. Emotional safety is the cornerstone of deep attraction. And the craziest part, most men never provide it. They either judge her, interrupt her, try to impress her, or shut down emotionally. But the man who creates emotional safety stands out like a lighthouse in the dark. Here's a truth that most men ignore. A woman becomes attracted when she realizes she can be herself around you without losing your respect. When she sees that you don't punish vulnerability. When she sees that you don't get intimidated by her emotions. When she sees that you don't fall apart when she pulls away temporarily. That emotional steadiness is extremely attractive, especially to women who are used to men reacting out of insecurity. But let's be real. Sometimes she's not interested because you've been too available, too predictable, too eager. And women, like all humans, feel desire when there's a balance between certainty and mystery. Certainty makes her feel safe. Mystery makes her feel excited. When you give her both, she can't help but feel drawn in. The trick isn't to hide things or play mind games. The trick is to live a real life, one that doesn't revolve around her, so she naturally wonders what's happening in your world. Let's touch on self-respect, the quiet muscle most men never strengthen. Self-respect is not being rude, arrogant, or overly protective. Self-respect is simply knowing what you will and won't allow. It's the courage to walk away from disrespect. It's the strength to not tolerate breadcrumbs. It's the maturity to not beg for someone who shows no genuine effort. Paradoxically, the more self-respect you have, the more attractive you become. Because women don't fall for the man who worships them. They fall for the man who values himself. A man who knows he's a prize without needing to announce it. Sometimes the shift happens the moment you stop chasing her, the moment you stop over-investing, the moment you pull back emotionally and refocus on yourself. Suddenly she feels the difference. Suddenly she notices your absence. Suddenly you're not the man who was always available on demand. Something inside her becomes curious. Something inside her starts wondering, did I misjudge him? Why isn't he trying anymore? What's going on with him? That curiosity can flip the dynamic completely. But again, you don't do this as a trick. You do it because you refuse to betray your own dignity. Confidence is not about looking perfect. It's about being real. Women fall for men who are equal parts strength and softness. A man who can stand tall but also smile honestly. A man who can protect but also comfort. A man who can lead without controlling. A man who can express without oversharing. Balanced men are rare, and rarity creates desire. Let's talk about flirting, the art that most men either avoid or overdo. Good flirting isn't cheesy, aggressive, or sexual. It's subtle. It's letting your eyes linger for a second longer than necessary. It's teasing gently without being mean. It's making her laugh without trying to force it. It's speaking in a tone that makes her feel seen but not pressured. When you flirt lightly without expectation, you create a spark that grows slowly. And slow fire burns the longest. Authenticity is your biggest weapon. Women can sense when you're pretending to be someone else. They can sense when you're trying to imitate confidence instead of embodying it. They can sense when you're performing. But when you show up as your real self, not trying to impress, not trying to sell a version of yourself, just being you, she relaxes. And when she relaxes, she opens up. And when she opens up, attraction builds. Real attraction is built on honesty, not performance. One of the most powerful things you can do as a man is to be emotionally selective. Not every woman gets access to your vulnerability, your time, your energy, or your life. Not because you're closed off, but because your value is high. When a woman senses that you do not give your emotional world easily, she respects you more. And respect is a gateway to attraction. You become the man she wants to win, not the man she wants to avoid. Another thing that changes everything is consistency. Not inconsistency, that just triggers insecurity. Not over-consistency, that kills the mystery. But balanced consistency. When your actions match your words, when your interest is real but not obsessive, when you communicate like an adult, honest, calm, without games. Women crave that stability. They crave a man who doesn't swing from hot to cold. They crave a man whose presence feels like a safe place, not a storm. Let's talk about humor. You don't need to be a comedian. You just need to let your natural humor come out. Humor lowers defenses. Humor creates warmth. Humor builds connection. And the best humor isn't forced. It's observational. It's simple. It's you being comfortable enough to playfully interact with her without worrying about looking silly. A man who can laugh at himself without losing dignity is incredibly attractive. It shows security, and security is magnetic. Your lifestyle matters too. Women want a man whose life has depth, not because they want your money, status, or achievements, but because they want to feel like joining your world would make their life richer, more meaningful, more exciting. When your life is full of purpose, full of discipline, full of passion, she can feel it. When your life is empty, she can feel that too. So build your life in a way that naturally attracts people, not for her, for you. Here's another truth. The slower you build a connection, the deeper it grows. Rushing destroys intimacy. Pressure kills attraction. But letting things unfold naturally creates emotional chemistry. You don't need everything from her immediately. Her validation, her attention, her affection. You let things breathe. You let moments build. You let the story unfold. And when the story unfolds slowly, desire grows slowly. And that's the strongest kind. One thing you must avoid is trying to change her mind about you through effort. You don't earn attraction like a reward for hard work. You create attraction by being a man she feels drawn to. And the more you try to force it, the further she pulls away. Desire cannot be forced. It can only be inspired. And you inspire it through your energy, your behavior, your confidence, your presence, and your emotional maturity. Let's talk about one more psychological truth, the law of emotional contrast. Humans feel strongest about people who make them feel a wide range of emotions: comfort, excitement, curiosity, depth, laughter. When you're only one thing, only nice, only serious, only funny, only mysterious, you become predictable. But when you're layered, when you can be soft and strong, sweet and confident, playful and focused, you make her feel alive. And women are drawn to the men who make them feel alive. Now let's touch on one final thing: letting go of outcomes. When you stop obsessing over whether she will choose you, you start behaving differently. You become calmer, you become more confident, you become more natural. And ironically, that's when she becomes more attracted, because a woman can sense when a man is obsessed with the outcome instead of the experience. But the man who enjoys the moment, he's irresistible. At the end of the day, making a woman want you, even when she wasn't initially interested, isn't about tricks, manipulation, or forcing anything. It's about becoming a man who naturally inspires desire, a man who makes her feel something she didn't expect, a man who stands out because of his emotional presence, self-respect, depth, confidence, humor, and authenticity. Attraction is fluid. Real chemistry grows. Women change their minds all the time. And when you become this version of yourself, you stop worrying about who wants you, because suddenly more people do. And the beautiful truth: when you grow into this man, you don't just attract women, you attract respect, success, opportunity, and a life that actually feels meaningful to live. The woman becomes part of your story, not the purpose of it. You don't chase, you choose. You don't beg, you build. And the woman who's meant for you won't just want you, she'll value you. She'll feel lucky to be chosen by you. If this connected with you, stay with Mind Unmasked. Because here, we don't just break down psychology, we understand the heart behind it.